Dave, you had quite a long run up to prepare for this game. How has preparation gone since last Thursday?
Um, Listen, I suppose after every performance, regardless of what it looks like, we will analyse and look what we did well, the things we need to do better. There was loads of things that we need to do better. Um, as has been the case over the last few weeks, really, we're a little bit restricted because of the numbers we've got, and we're trying to give people, I suppose, chances and leave things as long as possible to make sure we're as strong as we can be going into the game. But preparation's gone as well as we would hope, and we're looking forward to, I suppose, putting in a performance that shows the disappointment that we've had from our last game.
It's not a position you've been in often. Obviously, it's the first time you've lost back-to-back league games in 19 months. What's the message been to the players from yourself while you are going through this little period of adversity?
The message is exactly the same. Like I say, we pride ourselves on being consistent in what we do, and the two games that we've lost are the same scoreline, but they're completely different in my eyes, and completely different in terms of the feelings after them. You look at the Luton game, and there's moments we should be in front. We have to take the chances. We have to, in those times when we are on top and we create those chances, we have to score, which changes the outcome of the game. You look at the goals we conceded. We can analyse and overanalyse goals against us. We always will. The first goal, we defend it all right. We get unlucky. The fact that it ricochets off their player and goes into the goal. The second goal, difficult one because it's a decent free kick. We then have the moment in the second half where we start really well, get the penalty, changes the complexion of the game in terms of not getting back in it when the game's 2-0, which is important. And then the end of the game becomes a little bit of a nothing. The fact we can see the third goal and get a man sent off. So you're then getting through. Thursday was different because the whole nature, certainly of the first half, regardless of the goals, like I said, we didn't commit to a press, which got us caught, and we didn't defend well enough. But alongside that, we were too passive in what we did in possession, and we didn't have the chances or create the opportunities to get ourselves back in the game. Second half, we were a little bit better, marginally better, but not by a huge amount, and we didn't deserve anything from the game. It was a poor performance from our side of things, but you move on. Like I say, we're playing and we're in a position where everything's to play for. I spoke about it last night. The league's ridiculously tight, and we're coming into a period, especially you get the next few weeks out of the way over the Christmas period, where a lot of games in a short space of time, lots of points to play for, quick turnarounds, and probably things take or have more clarity around the middle of January to the end of January. We've got to make sure in these moments that we believe and keep trusting in what's got us to this point. We look like a Stockport County team. And as we've done in every other occasion we've been faced with something like this, we bounce back in a positive manner, and hopefully that's what we'll see tomorrow lunchtime.
When you do have so many players out through injury, and particularly, I suppose, key profile of players out, unavailable at the minute, do you consider having to change your tactical approach? Is that something you already have to do, go a little bit more direct, as you mentioned, doing in the second half at Peterborough?
You have to look at everything, don't you? And sometimes certain games will dictate that is easier to do than others. And when I say easier, going to be more efficient and effective to do than in others. But we've still got to trust in what we are and how we want to go about things. And that's important from my side of things and the coach's side of things, that we don't sort of rip up the playbook, if you like, and go completely opposite. We know that we can be adaptable within games. I don't think now is the time, after one bad performance, to completely flip from what we want to be and say that's not going to work and go in a completely different direction. We've brought in a profile of player that will allow us to do different things, and we're going to make sure we use them as best as possible. Some of the players that we've got out do affect how we play quite naturally, and we can switch things up if we need to, but I think we need to still, like I say, trust in what we've done and what we're trying to do. That sends out good messages to the players, and then back themselves. And like I say, the proof will be in the pudding in terms of what we see against a Barnsley team that come into the game and in a good mood after winning at home to Luton. It'll be important to see how our players react to that. I'm looking for them to react in a really positive way, and I'm sure they will.
Great to see Ollie back in the building this week. Presumably his recovery is maybe a little bit more complex than with some injuries given the nature of the injury, but how is he doing, and do you have an update on when we might see him again?
Yeah. In a strange thing, his rehab is miles less complex than any other injury because you're not dealing with an injury as such. There's no muscle damage. There's no waiting for fibres to repair. You're dealing with an operation. You're dealing with a wound. It's wound management more than anything else. So he's had his stitches out. He's been down to the specialist in London. Everything seems positive. He's just got to make sure, and we've got to make sure that the normal things that happen post-surgery, you don't get any infection, there's no risk around that sort of things, and he should be back out pretty quickly, which is a positive. In terms of a date, a game, if we see him around Christmas, brilliant. If it's a bit earlier, amazing, but that's not where we're planning to be. If it is, it becomes a bonus. But we'd hope that when we get into that busy Christmas schedule, Boxing Day and further than that he becomes back available for us.
You mentioned that Campsey's substitution last Thursday was because of an injury in the first half. How is he? What's the latest there? Yeah,
he jarred his back, and you could see the last minute or so in that first half he was struggling to get about. He's still in a little bit of discomfort. Backs are strange. Sometimes they'll settle down. Sometimes something can set them off again. So he's done a little bit. He's not been involved in all of training. So we'll just have to see how he is today and make a decision. If he's not available, listen, we've had to deal with that sort of thing. Are we a little bit light? Yeah, of course, a little bit light. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't change our outlook on what we want the game to look like.
You are coming towards a period now, though, where it feels like every week going forward there's going to be someone potentially coming back from injury. Will anyone be fit in time for Saturday?
Yeah, possibly. Like I say, over the next 3 weeks or so, what we can't do or what we don't want to happen is to lose players. So Lewis Fiorini had a little bit of a setback. He'll have surgery today to clean out an issue in his knee, which puts him out for a period. We should have Ozzy back involved this weekend, but again, he's been out. We need to be careful with him. Hopefully by midweek, there's potential of Teo being involved, available for us. Move forward into the FA Cup game. Hopefully, fingers crossed, R2 can be available for us. And the following week, Stevenage after Doncaster, we potentially have Tyler and Brad Hills back available. They're all coming back from medium-term to long-term injuries. So how quickly we can get them up to speed, we're going to have to be careful. And that causes some problems in itself. The benefit, I suppose, is if you look at a Teo and an Ozzy, that they can both play in similar positions. If you look at Brad and Art, they play in similar positions. So we do have the option to rotate, but our aim is to get all of them up to speed as quickly as possible to make sure the squad becomes stronger and stronger, especially when, like I say, we get into that Christmas period where we play every third day between Boxing Day and the 4th of January.
Looking at Barnsley, then, what have you made of them this season? Connor's obviously had time to put his own stamp on the team. They transitioned from a 5 last season into a 4 this season, and they'll obviously be, as you mentioned earlier, full of confidence after that win last week.
Yeah, a 4 that looks, a bit similar to us in terms of how they do it in possession. They'll look like a 3 in possession, with a sort of box midfield and a 3 on the top line. One of them being a fullback that rotates round, and out of possession defenders are 4. Had a decent start. Obviously, they've still got some games to catch up on with international breaks and things. Look really a threat in transition. So they. Reyes Cleary and Davis Killer-Dunn. You look at the game on Saturday, a goal each and 2 assists each in transitional moments. So we know where their threats are. They've got legs in midfield. They'll obviously miss Bland is out suspended, so somebody else will change. But I look at the subs that they made on Saturday. Their squad looks strong, and we know what we're going to come up against. But as I said, we've got to back ourselves, respect what they do, but back ourselves to be a threat in the game. We're at home. We want to bounce back from last Thursday. And we'll do everything we can to make sure that's the case, but understand that it's going to be a tough game against a team that comes into it, like I say, in a good moment, on the back of having a little bit of an iffy run, if you like. But they've now gone back-to-back wins, I think, and they'll come into the game looking to back that up with another win. We've got to make sure that we produce a better version of ourselves than we did on Thursday at Peterborough in order to try and win.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.